Hello, how are you?
I'm great. You doing okay?
I'm doing okay. What's on your agenda for today?
Well, mainly I wanted to talk about Unit 3.
Okay.
I was looking at some of it and seems kind of hard. I don't know. Yeah.
Unit,
Um,
yes.
then I mean, what
The
the
intent.
next,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was just wondering also the weekly reflection, it was different than with Unit 1 and 2. So that's what I use that particular paper and go by that for
For level two.
the week.
Yes. It's,
Okay.
yeah, it's a different format because you're starting to move towards a different set of skills.
Okay. And also it says something about project level 2 project. Is
Yeah.
that
Um, I'm trying to remember what was Nathan's project so I can remind you. Oh, remember the origami things he folded and made? That was his project. And so
okay.
did it with some staff and got some feedback from staff. So yes, you do a project, something like that. And it doesn't have to be with patients. It can be anyone that you're providing spiritual care to. So whoever your spiritual care receivers are. Um, and or in your case, your project could also be directed towards your site supervisor, depending on what you're interested in and what you want to do.
Okay.
And you can be creative around it. Did you read the description about it yet?
Um,
It's in,
yeah, I did.
okay.
Yeah.
So there's
Hmm.
a lot of latitude and we can talk about it and you can be as creative as you like. Because it's
Okay.
something that really interests you, whatever that might be.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be my goal. It doesn't have to pertain to my goal, the learning goals or whatever.
Not necessarily, not
Okay.
specifically. There may be something else you want to learn. And yeah, so we can be creative. Did you have something in mind yet, or you're still just thinking
Well,
about
I just kind of, yeah, I was just kind of reading all the material and
it?
I
Okay.
was like, I just want to make sure I ask, is that something I'm doing right now in this unit because it's going to be a fast unit, so I
Yes,
want to be able to.
you're right. It's going to be a very fast unit. No, you're not doing any of it right now that I'm aware of.
Oh, so I won't do that until the unit 4, or I do it in unit 3.
Oh, I misunderstood you. Correct. You do it in unit three.
I
Even,
do it.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
even though it's an intensive. And I'll double check with Joseph to make sure. But even though it's an intensive, my understanding is you'll still do it. Um, and that gives you a chance. I'm glad you're reading it because it gives you a chance to map out the,
Right.
it goes so quickly.
Yeah. And I want to be a little bit ahead just to make sure I'm understanding,
Yeah.
everything.
Now, on
And
our first session, when we meet on the last day of orientation, we have some time together as a group. Uh,
okay.
Something that's going to be different with me doing the movie is because the further along we go, the more I kind of tweak things and sort of try to make them my own, right?
Right. Hmm.
I'm going to give you a worksheet for the movie so you know exactly what I'm encouraging you to be looking at in this movie.
Right. Right.
So you'll
Okay.
sheet. You won't just have this open-ended, so what do you want me to reflect on? But or even just a single prompt question. You'll actually get a worksheet you get to fill out.
Oh, cool. Okay. And that's the Sunshine movie or
Sunshine movie, and I'm also going to have a worksheet for the other movie, Ordinary People. And I'm going to propose that instead of ordinary, the people have the option or let me change the movie from Ordinary People to soul food. But I don't know if that
oh, okay.
proposal is going to go through. But I'm going to ask if I can switch it to soul food.
Okay, cool. That'd be nice.
I think
And the
so.
book, I got the book. I'm halfway through the book. It's very good. It's a good book and helpful for me to see the dynamics of the church and how everybody relates and connects and all that. So that's very helpful. So I'm glad we're doing that.
Good. I thought you would like that book. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. Lisa's gonna like this.
It
Yeah.
is. It's a very good book. And usually I'm like at the last minute reading, but I'm like, I can't put it down. I'm like underlining and writing and everything and trying to take notes, but it's a
Oh,
really good
good.
book.
That's
Yeah.
excellent. Glad to hear that. Yeah.
It helps you see the church differently and people differently because how they react and how they're acting out of their own, you know, stuff from their past and whatever. It's not necessarily that they're reacting to you, it's just, what's going on or whatever. But I think it was helpful for me yesterday because one of my church members kind of yelled at me and I was like, just just be quiet, Lisa, just be quiet. But
Oh,
eventually she came back around and said, I shouldn't have said that to you like that and I shouldn't have talked to you like that. I'm sorry. But I didn't say nothing. I just let her say her stuff and then she eventually found out herself. She said that was not a nice way to talk to you or whatever. And she apologized. But
yeah. What does kinda yelled at me? What's kinda
well,
yelled?
basically she did yell, but I don't know why I said kind of, but yeah,
Wow.
she got she got upset because sometimes the church they'll make announcements and they don't tell me about it and it's not appropriate announcement or it's an announcement that I don't know anything about and they're doing things that inviting preachers in and stuff. I'm like, stuff like that. And I thought I kind of put a stop to that. And so she asked me about making an announcement. I said, I don't mind you making an announcement, but just let me know what it is first. And she was like, well, me and Maria, if you're not available, me and Maria can make a decision on that. I was like, no, I think you still need to tell me what the announcement is. And she just kind of got, she just got upset about it and just started yelling at me. But
Wow.
I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just a total lack of respect. And I didn't talk to her any kind of way sideways or anything. I just said I just think y'all need to just make sure you let me know what's going on because some things is some things that, because one time it's going to announce something. I was like, that's not appropriate. You can't announce that. I said because that's on me. If it gets back to the DS and all that, then it's not on you. It's everything that happens in this church. No matter if y'all do it or if I do it, it comes back on me. So it's just stuff like that.
Wow.
So they want what they want and they want their way and they don't like me telling them not that they can't do something. So
Mm. It
yeah.
reminds me of the weekly reflection where the preacher changed the time of worship without communicating with you
And that's her sister.
and made that announcement.
Right. That's what they do stuff like that. And I'm like, y'all can't do stuff like that. And that's not the first time the pastor did that. She invited somebody to preach and said all this other stuff. We're gonna have a preaching Sunday afternoon. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? And I addressed it right then and there in the pulpit with that particular one. And somebody got upset. You shouldn't have did that. That wasn't appropriate. It was appropriate. I said, she brought it to the pulpit. She brought it here right now. So I needed to address it right now. So, but it's just stuff like that. They drive me crazy.
Wow.
And the more I try to tell them not to do it, it's like the more they dig in and do it.
Mm.
So I'm like, whew. But I'm moving next year. I'm over these people. I'm over it. So I'm trying to stay here just because I got to write my papers and I don't want to go anywhere that would be more stressful. You know what I mean? So that's why I stayed another year so I can write my papers and just be done with it.
Wow. How do you know you're moving?
I'm asking.
Okay.
I'm asking. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in to move.
That's
Yeah.
that's big.
It is. It is. But I just wanted to just one more. I was gonna move this year, but I was like, what if I get a church that's really demanding? And if they give me three churches or something, it'll be hard to write my papers. So I said, but the best decision would be to stay here and, you know, write
Wow.
them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm. Lisa, you have a lot going on.
It's a lot. Yeah. And it's just like I'm over these different committees and stuff in the conference. It should be one committee, but it ended up being like five different committees. I'm the African American Ministries convener, but that kind of spread out and they put it's five different jobs I have to do. I'm like, I didn't sign up for that, but what do you do? because I got appointed through the conference, so it's a 4-year term, so I have to do that. And then
Uh,
also another thing, yeah, and they got me on something else, and then I got myself on other stuff, so it's just a lot.
You know,
So,
that day where you're in those meetings and you're trying to also make sure you do a class, I know it's tight and we have a very short window, but take care of yourself. Okay.
right,
I don't want you to overstress yourself, and we can figure out how to make up hours. You're not going to miss so much that you can't make up the hours and still get credit for the unit. And I realize it's later, so part of it probably can come and you'd be glad to be away from them.
right, exactly,
So
exactly, yeah,
fine too. That's fine too. So, but to
okay.
know there's flexibility, even though it's a tight schedule.
Well, I appreciate that. That gives me a little bit of relief.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just like in unit one, as you are encountering new things like a new weekly reflection style, different outcomes and indicators, the project, you and your because that's where your BDTIL is. Just as in unit one, you grow into those. It's the same
hmm
unit two. I know they're new to you, and you're going to grow into them. And you're the only second unit two student I've had, so we'll be
Oh, okay,
together. But just know that,
good.
so don't feel like you have to come in, as an expert on them. You're not. This is the first time around,
Right.
so you'll be growing into them.
Yeah, I was reading them and I was like, I don't know. I
I don't
don't know.
know what dynamics are.
Right, right.
Only one I know
But
is behavior. I can describe the behavior.
that, yeah, definitely behavior. Lord help us.
Right.
But
We'll
yeah. But
journey together. And those IS sessions are going to be, they'll be very helpful time to knock out
yeah.
whatever, you may not be sure on. Because we've experienced it before when we've had the
hmm
one, you're like, oh, now it's clear.
Right, right. That's what I'm hoping for. I just don't want to appear. The reason I'm asking questions, I don't want to appear dumb when we get, you know, in the actual class and not, I'm like, I don't know what this stuff is. I don't want to seem like an idiot.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. Very hard for you to seem like an idiot. But it's true. There's no dumb question. It really isn't.
I know, but it seems like it is though. When I ask, I feel very small. I'm like, what are you asking this question?
On something,
Uh,
something right as an educator. Because it's a safe environment, but I'm fine to be, talking about it too. I'm looking ahead as well. And uh, you know, same thing. That's why I wanted to get the syllabus in your hand. I'm like, I would put the worksheet in your hand, but I think it'll go better in your hand after the didactic. I think right now,
yeah,
what? But with the
yeah,
didactic, click. So,
right,
and I think the continuation, I know that uh, Alice has said it and she probably will say it again. I know how much it means to her to have you continuing. I think the continuation is great for you too, because
yeah,
that much harder to not go back, because you'll be telling yourself, I only got one more unit. Come on, I gotta go get
right,
it. So
right, right,
that's good for you too. And I and I
right.
I totally to support your decision. Write these papers. Now you're gonna move to a new site. I'm like, oh yeah, you
Yeah,
that, that's good
yeah,
and good self-care. Yeah.
yeah. I just knew. I know for myself, it's not gonna be easy if I took the course in the fall. It wouldn't be easy for me to do both because it's a lot of work writing in this class. So you
Right.
know,
Right. So yeah, I think
so
you're right on target and your decision is good. And you know, yeah. So please, whatever other questions you think make you look less than brilliant, feel free to ask what other questions you have.
Well, I want to share something, but I was kind of disappointed with me and my friend. I told you we go to bingo and go out to
Yeah.
eat. And so during that time, I ended up getting a call from this lady from the conference. And she said, Lisa, we want to use your um we had to do a CLE and Irion group, a project. And she said, we want you to speak on that project. Everybody thought it was a fantastic project. And I was like, what, really? We want you to speak on it during annual conference
Wow.
for 7 minutes. And I was like, wow, really? Y'all chose me out of all these people? And she's like, well, everybody in your, the REAM team not
Yeah.
the REAM team, but the Board of Ordained Ministries, when they interviewed us, they said it was and they told me it was a good project, but I was like, but then they came back and they want me to be able to go to conference and talk about it. And I was like, that's pretty exciting. So I was telling her about it and she just kind of looked at me and then she changed the subject. And I was like, why wouldn't you kind of like, that's, say something supportive, because I'm always supporting her, but I don't understand why people don't support me, when I have good news. And that's why I said I don't, when I was talking our last class, I said I don't say things a lot because people feel like I'm bragging, I guess. And I'm not bragging. I just want, hey, that's, you know what I mean? But
You're just sharing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So,
Congratulations. That is awesome. I
yeah,
mean,
thank
that's
you.
awesome. And seven
I
minutes,
appreciate
7 minutes at an annual conference. I mean, I could preach a sermon in 7 minutes.
it.
That is, it might get knocked down to 5 because they're gonna be running behind. But that is
Right.
awesome. And what an opportunity to come before the whole conference and then to have picked you out amongst everybody in your group. That's no small thing.
Right. That's like that's pretty neat. And I just like the way God moves. He'll put you in places that you never thought you'll be in. And
Right,
that's just how amazing he is, because I never saw myself as being picked for anything like that, or even some of the things that I'm doing in the conference right now. I never saw myself at those tables. You know what I mean? But
right.
God will put you in places that you never knew you would be at. And those people never knew you would be there either. They're like, why are you here? But God will put you there.
Hmm.
You don't have to force your way into anything, because God will put you where he wants you to be.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts about her silence?
I don't know. Just I don't understand. It's like I said, it's a white lady stuff. Um, I don't know. I think they look at you like you don't deserve. You know what I mean? You don't deserve to be at that table.
Yeah.
You know.
So so what are your feelings about her lack of support? So you think
um,
like you don't deserve it.
um, I'm okay with it because I know the boundaries of the friendship. I know that for me, I support people more than they support me. That's just who I am. That's how I am. Even though I don't get the same support back most of the time. I still um I still find some value in friendship. You know what I mean? So I just kind of let it go. But it is what it is. But it teaches me how to move around her. You know what I mean?
Wow. Any,
Yeah.
can you name a feeling word? You may not be able to at this time, but
Um, I don't know. I was really disappointed, I guess. I don't know if is that a feeling word? Disappointed.
disappointment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was really disappointed at that. No, I don't. And I had preached at her church like 2 Sundays ago. I don't know if I told you that as well.
No, you didn't.
I preached at two of her churches, and I think she was upset because people were coming. Oh, that was a great sermon. I like the way you delivered it and all that. And she acted like she was kind of upset about that. No, I don't know. Um, I'm
Wow.
not trying to take your church over. I don't want your church. You asked me to speak there, not, I didn't ask you to do it, but so I don't know. I
Wow.
don't know. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sad. I feel sad about it and hurt because she was not just a colleague, but a friend. And you have shared, some personal things and been in she shared her struggle and you were like, hey, let me, so you were supportive. So that hurts. I feel hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And then the preaching thing too. So you're saying she was upset about it. Say more about that. She was
I
upset.
don't, she just seemed in something like, I don't know, because I don't know what, because we went to eat afterwards, and on the ride, she was just kind of silent and not talking, and she usually just talk without stopping. But I don't know. I think because everybody accepted me, I don't know if she thought they would, but and especially this one guy, because he kept looking at me. He was one of the younger guys in the church, and I was like, is this guy gonna say something weird to me? And but after church, he was like, man, that was a powerful sermon. He said it affected my life, and I know it affected the life of my kids. I was like, well, some of the things I said, I didn't know if it was kind of over your kid's head or what. He's like, no, they needed to hear that. They needed to hear it. You said exactly what they needed to hear. And he said it was power. He just kept coming up to me saying it. He said it at least 4 times. Every time he ran into me before I left, he was like, that was just a great sermon. It really impacted you know,
Yeah.
my life.
Wow. So so the behavior was she was silent when she's normally talkative. She, what else? What other behavior did you observe by her?
I don't know. She just seemed annoyed
Seemed
when
to,
we talked.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if part of the dynamic, I wonder, we don't know how she was feeling because you didn't,
Right. Eh, No, I didn't. And
yeah,
and that's what I got out of this book as well, because you don't really know what people are thinking. You know what I mean? We can be thinking that they're thinking one thing, and they get their mind on something that's happened a long time ago or something. So we really don't know what people are thinking, and it's only an assumption. But you know, I don't
yeah.
know.
Is this something you would explore with her?
Um, Probably not, because I don't think the relationship is that. Like if I leave, I mean, we might talk on the phone or something every now and then, but I'm not. It's not like I'm totally invested. You know what I mean? It's not like my other friendships and stuff, but
Okay.
um I don't think so, you know. I
Okay.
don't think if it was anybody else I might, but I don't think so.
Yeah. But I love what you said earlier. You said it just tells me how to work around her.
Yeah.
And by that, do you mean it tells you, it's kind of, it reminds me of Maya Angelou's saying, which I don't know who she attributed to, but when people show you who they are, believe them.
Right.
So
That's kind of
yeah, that's what you mean. So how I'm going to be around her, I'm going to work around her, I'm going to interact. What I'll share, what I won't share.
right. Exactly.
Yeah. Because I noticed that you haven't said she seemed jealous.
Um, I don't know. That's a hard thing to say about people. Um, even my son said that one time, because somebody was doing something to him at work, and I was like, it sounds almost like they're jealous. He said, well, I don't want to say that because I don't know for sure. You don't really know for sure if they're jealous. You don't really know. So it's, I feel kind of arrogant if I say people are jealous. You know what I mean? Because you putting yourself up here like you did something great, and it might not be that great. So, you know what I mean? I don't really want to say jealous
Oh,
because I don't know. You know?
because you don't know. And you're right. We don't know for sure how she's feeling.
Yeah.
We know her behavior has changed.
That's true. I mean, it seems like it might be jealousy, but you don't really want to say that because you don't really know. you know.
Yeah.
So,
And
but
they
they just kind of
that
go
way
ahead.
doesn't seem like it would change anything for you in terms of how you would respond. Even if you named it as jealousy, you for
Mm,
more about you being arrogant and you don't know. So it doesn't seem like it would change your behavior.
no, not necessarily. You talking about toward her
Right.
and being the relation? No, because I don't know. I've learned over time, even I'm what 62, that I've had a lot of people that treated me really bad in my life, and um, I mean, I'm secure in who I am. I know who I am, and and so how they react to me, I have to learn, like I told you, to move around it, not worry about it, because I don't want to get myself bogged down with depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. I just have to let it kind of go so that I can be free and have a little bit of peace. I guess the reason I wanted to talk about it now is because um, I just wanted to share it with somebody
Mm-hmm.
that would I know that would care. You know what I mean?
Huh.
That would.
It matters. And her response matters. And I'm glad this is going to sound horrible. I'm glad it happened because you wouldn't have told me about this had it not happened. And I think this is so exciting. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. What I mean, maybe that's your project too. There might be something in that. I don't know what it was, but you might be able to build on it for your project for CPE. But so
Oh, okay. Cool.
I hear you. I hear you. And I appreciate how you're protecting yourself and how you've processed it for yourself. And you're acknowledging the disappointment, which sometimes, hurt and sadness is with disappointment sometimes. And you're, like you said, you're reclaiming your peace. And even just talking about it, in this space, I absolutely care. And I'm glad that you shared it with me. And like I said, I was
Thank
like,
you.
it hurt my heart. Like, yo, what's up, friend? Don't get mad.
Right. He's so crazy.
And you know what? I had a friend who's a preacher who used to always say, "Favor ain't fair," and I didn't like that.
Mm,
They were like, "Why do you get upset when I say?" I said, "Because I think God has favor for all of us at
that's
different."
right.
So I
That's
actually,
right.
it's fair,
Right.
because we don't see God's big distribution of it. You have some
Yeah.
favor in your life in a moment, and you act like it puts you over someone else. It doesn't. I said, but that's my thing. I know what you mean by it. But they don't say it around me no more. But it but sometimes the favor of God, when it is shining on you, others feel like it is they're missing something. And it is,
Mm,
in my opinion, like you said, when God wants you somewhere, God positions you and prepares you, you know,
right.
or makes a way for you to be prepared. And it's God and using you, and you like, that's what I'm here for.
Right.
so,
Exactly.
so to God be the glory. And no shade for me.
Mm,
That's what I say to folks. Just to God be the glory. That's all. To God be the glory.
yeah.
Wow. She's
Yeah.
something, something. It's always something, isn't it?
It seems like it is, and sometimes you Lord, how much more can I take? And then you have to realize that we all gonna go through things. And God never promised that it'll be easy. He just said He would be with us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. Well, record it. Have a family member or a friend, somebody record, because you're going to want to relive the moment, because in the moment, you're not going to remember it.
No, because I get all nervous and stuff. But
You're going to be, oh,
it's record. The conference records it, but I'll try to see if my son will come and record it. But
that's right. The whole conference will be recorded.
yeah,
Yeah.
they record it and do all that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so happy for you. I,
Thank you.
I really am. And I'm glad that you had this opportunity. And I wasn't aware. So I don't know how frequently you have opportunities to preach at other churches, because that is clearly one of your gifts and one of your passions. And so the opportunity to
Thank
do it in different places, that's an affirmation of your calling. And that, Lisa, that's just what I hear over and over again in your reflections and the incidents and the things you experience with the church, both the things we would describe as good and not so good, right?
you.
I'm
Hmm.
hearing all of them an affirmation of your calling. When you think about your life, it is no one but God who has
Right.
called you and is equipping you and fine tuning you. And folk don't know the fires of refining you go through. You know, they see you
Right.
here, you preaching this, you doing this, but you don't know what I've been through.
Right.
So
Right.
God used me like this. So
Right.
be careful. Be careful. I don't want nobody else's blessing. I'll stick with these that God has given me, because I don't know what you've been through,
Right.
but I experienced God using you. And I look, and as I read those reflections, for me, it's an affirmation over and over again of your calling. I'm like, look at
Thank
God.
you.
Look at God. And this opportunity before the annual conference, you weren't planning for it. You were completing an assignment,
Right.
just trying to get through. And when
That's right.
it was good, you were minimizing it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Y'all think we can't walk and chew gum.
Right.
and, and half of them don't think we can walk and chew gum.
That's true.
But what God will do at that moment, God's,
Hmm.
so I'm with you. Wow. I know I'm supposed to, I know you wanted to share, and I don't know if there's anything else you want to share about it. Please do. I didn't mean to get so excited, but I'm excited.
No, no, I mean, no, I'm grateful for this time because honestly, I just needed somebody to um support me in
Yeah,
this moment. You know what I mean? Just tell, just you just think and tell another pastor. They were like, "Wow, that's great," and just telling other people. I don't tell people a whole lot because it's just like I don't know if they really get it or not. You know what I mean? Because
right.
it's just So I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for IS because it has definitely helped change who I am and the way I see things and how I view things and how I support people and even how I take care of myself. Um, I just believe truly when people kept telling me to take CPE, I was like, it'll change you, Lisa. And I was like, nah, but definitely has changed who I am, how I move in life, and the things that I used to take on and just be so overwhelmed and burdened down. I look at people differently now. Um, Especially you guys used to say it's not about you, it's not about you. And that really kind of stuck with me. It's not about me. That everybody has their own emotions, their own space, their own things they have to navigate and do things in. And it's just because sometimes they might take it out on you, it's not about you. So I've learned so much. So I'm just grateful for this course. I'm grateful to be in you guys' presence, and you and Joseph have definitely done a fantastic job, and you have done a great job in this unit too. Definitely helped me just see life differently.
That's
So I
powerful.
I, I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you, and thank you for sharing that. I appreciate hearing it. It's encouraging. Um, I was working on a didactic this morning, so you giving me a little more to keep going.
No, really, you have,
Push
man,
on.
you've done keep going because you have done a great job and supported us. And even even with Marcelo and stuff and Alice, like, if they say something and in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe that's not completely the way it was supposed to go. And then you'll say, that's exactly right. Yeah, you're in the right direction. And I'm like, okay, well, that's you'll change it around. You're like, no, they did good with that. And and I'm like, okay, you have to look at things differently instead of looking at things, we look at things one way and that's the way you think it's supposed to be, but no. And you have helped change my view on that. So Yeah, you find good in everything, no matter what it is. Even if it's like on the board, on the edge, you'll build it up to be something big.
But it's
You know,
true. It's
yeah. I'm not saying it's a lie or anything. I'm not saying whatever you. I mean, it's just changed my perspective, and I
mm,
think that's what CPE does. It changes your perspective. You
yeah.
know.
Oh, that's like new meanings for the initial CPE. I don't know what the E is, but changing your perspective. I like that. CP, change the perspective. Yeah.
Every day.
Every day. I liked it. Like CP,
Yeah.
change your perspective every day. Thank,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
We're gonna get that on those tags that we're not gonna get.
That we're not getting them, are we? We can imagine though. We can imagine.
I think you should mention it again to Joseph and see what happens. But I thought it was brilliant. I couldn't wait to say what y'all said. But he was like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joseph, he's just like but I understand. But
But um,
we'll get there one day. We'll have our tags one day.
one change your perspective every day. I love that. Yeah, which is that's I think that's how grace flows.
It does.
You know,
Yeah.
I
You do it every day though. You do it.
yeah, and I feel like um I don't see myself the way God sees me. I know because there's so much grace and mercy coming my way.
Right.
Like, thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you. Don't give up on me yet. Keep working on me and working through me. And that's what that feels like. It feels to me like grace when I can do
Right.
that. And we're all a work in progress. We know it. We know it.
Right.
On a good day, we know it. And yeah, and you affirming yourself and not feeling arrogant um, might be a wonderful goal. Might be,
Okay.
because you are an awesome cheerleader. Like you will cheer other people on, but
Thank you.
a rah rah coming to you for you. Let's move on. Let's go to the next thing. Oh, so so that might be a goal to have to like what would it take for me to get excited about me without I'm not talking cocky. I just can't imagine you ever being cocky, but cocky or arrogant, just that self-assured and confident. um and maybe you already are, so you don't need it as a goal.
Can that be a goal?
It can be if it's relevant to you. You that's how I see it. But like your son said, I don't know what you're thinking. You have to tell me. So yeah, how does that feel when you think about that?
I mean, it's a good goal to set because um even when she was telling me that I did good and they wanted me to do that, I was like having a lot of anxiety when she said it. I'm like, because trying to accept that compliment, I had so much anxiety.
Yes.
And I said, my project? Are you sure? She's like, yes, everybody thought it was fantastic and we want you to, you know, talk about it. And I was like, and it took me a while to process it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so yeah.
Because in a
I, I
go ahead.
no,
You
I just said so I do need help in that area to grow in that area.
okay? Then you're on your way. You got one of your goals already. That there's a way in which them selecting you is affirming you and is um, supporting you and encouraging you. It's not, perhaps not, the way we might imagine it always comes, but that is an affirmation of you,
Right.
and of your calling. So not just them, but God, like you said. So I think, yeah, because you certainly have a narrative of people not supporting you.
Right.
So it makes sense that you might be uncomfortable with people supporting you or even immediately nervous. What's wrong? This is unfamiliar.
Right.
Right. You may even be suspicious of it. Like, so I think that's a good goal, and where it'll go as we unpack it together, who knows? But
Yeah.
you definitely jumping ahead, but there you go. I think that's good. It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm so glad you asked for this time.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Well used. I mean, it was real, and I want you to hear. You already knew you had done the number of IS sessions that were required,
Mm-hmm.
and asking for another session, not just to get logistics about the next unit, but because you're planning and you're thinking through the next unit, but also to share something in your ministry for that opportunity for reflection and feedback and conversation, and consultation. That's what, that conversation. All of that is exceeding expectations.
Oh, well. Thank
So
you.
hear that. And that matters, you know.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You didn't do it with that in mind. I,
Yeah.
I know you did. So I'm just wanting to highlight it so you won't miss it and frame it that way, because that's not what was on your mind. You were just seeking a consultation and using your IS well.
Well,
Good for you.
thank
Excellent.
you. I appreciate it.
You made
Thank you.
anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I'm feeling lighter and I'm feeling better. So,
Good.
no, I'm good.
Okay. Can I say something completely unrelated?
Mm-hmm.
Red is your color, girl. You look good in red.
Oh, thank you.
Our color, right? I sit over here in black, but I love it. You look good in red. It's like a power.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It
You
was cold really cold this morning, so I had to put on the long sleeve.
and a little neck cover.
Yeah, it's cold out there.
Good. Smart.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. You have an awesome day.